Free online, this is the podcast. What you never knew you needed. Ready to broadcast. Coming to you live anywhere, anytime. Decentralized entertainment mixed with a rhyme. This is the Moralis Web3 podcast. Listen all the time from wherever you're at. Coming to you live, bringing the facts. Exclusively online. Press play and kick back.
Ho, ho, holy smokes, we've been busy at Moralis. My name is Bill Gilmore. Welcome to the Moralis Web3 Community Podcast. I am joined by my very close friend and co-host, Phil Ip. Hey, Philip.
I am right here. So we've actually got two Philips in the studio today. Myself, as you all know, your head of events and head of research at Moralis, but we're joined today by a special guest, our COO, Philip, who handles many, or oversees, I should say, many of our operations at Moralis. Philip, please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, yeah, super nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me. And amazing intro, by the way. This is the first time I'm hearing that. I love it. No, but I'm Philip. I'm one of the co-founders and of Moralis, and also now the COO.
Nice.
Well,
I hope everyone's got
to have you here today.
You got it, Phil.
We're delighted to have both of you here today. And obviously, I'm excited here not only for this podcast, but also for the holiday season. Have some decorations up, and we're all looking forward to talking a little bit about that. We're going to talk about news events that are going on right now. I'm sure everybody is still following the FTX situation. So we're going to be talking about that. Please let us know where you're tuning in from in the chat. If you have anything to share on your end, we're going to be monitoring the chat and sort of engaging with you guys throughout. I'm going to hand it back over to Bill here so he can talk a little bit about, if you're joining us for the first time, what's this podcast all about, Bill?
This podcast is all about community, of course, Phil. So straight up, shout out to Michael and shout out to Alex in the chat. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us today. And it's always a little bit of a festive special one today. I actually low-key have some very nice festive music playing in my ears right now just to get me in the festive spirit. But yeah, we're here usually once every we were here once a week for a while, but things have got super busy lately in Moralis. So we're thinking we're going to change the format to maybe be like once a month. We're going to come in and we want to share all the stuff you're working on, share your dApps, have great guests like Philip join us, sorry. And yeah, you can send in your questions to us. So any questions you have, shoot them in the chat. And we're basically just here for you. We want to get people together, get them talking about Web3, get excited for building the future, and share all the great news that we have at Moralis. And we actually have some really cool news to share today. So yeah, that's a bit of a recap on, I think, what we're going to do and what we're going to talk about today. And shall we jump straight into the news, Philip? You ready?
Well, before we do, I see I'm just looking at our schedule for the day, and I'm also seeing a question in the chat about it already. I wanted to give Philip a chance to talk a little bit right as we're getting started here about, now obviously Philip's been with us at Moralis since the very beginning. He's one of our founders, really. And I just wanted to give him an opportunity to talk about, what working at Moralis has meant to him in these past couple of years. And then also, what he's maybe looking forward to or anything along those lines. We also have a new product to share with everybody in a little bit. So I'm going to let Bill introduce that, and then we'll have Philip share some thoughts on that as well. So take it away.
Yeah, Philip. So let us know what was the driving force that made you start Moralis then?
Well, it was actually out of frustration because we had been building in Web3 and blockchain for quite a few years. And I think it was in 2020 that we started to build out an NFT application for our community at the time. And we thought that would be like a weekend programming job for one of our guys because it was a very simple application. But it turned out that it wasn't very easy to work with NFTs at the time. And we were sort of taken aback by that and thought, how could it be this difficult to build something so easy, which was basically just authenticating a user and pulling in their NFTs from different smart contracts. And that was really, really hard because, there wasn't any good tools around at the time. So it took a long time to figure it out. We eventually did figure it out for our application, but we thought there for a while that there must be an easier way to do this for other people building the same thing. And that was really what sparked it. And then early 2021, we actually started building that, which was the first simple version was just the functionality of being able to authenticate a user on your back end and then being able to pull in their assets. And that was it. That's what we did. And it became popular very, very quickly. And since then, we've been working on that and expanding it with new features. And now we're here. It's
funny, actually, you should say that you found it quite frustrating. Yeah, at the very, very start, you were programming with Ivan over a weekend because big hat off to Ivan, by the way. I was having some troubles with Next.js and server or client-side caching. And Ivan jumped on a pair programming call with me, and like the two of us just like console logged everything and hacked our way through it and finally got it to work. And at the end, he burst out laughing. He's like, this is just like university where Phil and I would be sitting. And we don't know why it isn't working, but we're sure we can get it to work. And we just sat and tried over and over. So I guess you have some funny stories about university together, right?
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, we're both programmers. And yeah, man, it was a long time ago I was pair programming at all. But I mean, back then, we were doing a lot of programming. We studied computer science together. And even though, I mean, we wouldn't be able to string together what Moralis is today on our own, because I mean, the systems of blockchain and indexing all of that data that we do is incredibly complex. And I haven't worked with that kind of stuff in many years. But the sort of logic of programming and the logic of computer science, that still fits there. So trying to debug stuff, I mean, can still work, but it's not what we do on a daily basis. It wouldn't be a very good use of our time. It wouldn't be very good for the company. So I'm glad we have
I was wondering, I mean, how many companies have the CEO jump in, pair program with them and help them debug an issue? I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, maybe now Twitter with Elon Musk. I don't know. He seems to be very involved.
He's out though, right? They took a vote. Like he took the vote on Twitter and they voted him out.
Looks like he's going to find a replacement.
Yeah. My wife came in. She's like, "Make sure you vote for Elon to stay." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sure my vote will really make a big difference." Like,
but there was also a Twitter space. It was also a Twitter space hosted. I think it was yesterday with some engineers from Twitter. Some engineers from Twitter and Elon Musk in the Twitter space. And yeah, they have some problems. Like they have an insane cash burn, and now they also have a debt problem with the interest rates going up. So it was kind of revealing that talk. And engineers, they're sort of leaving. They have a lot of legacy code that's sort of built using their own frameworks, if I understood it correctly. So it seems to be a hard situation for them.
Nightmare. Yeah, speaking of frameworks as well, you were saying like you wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. Ivan started the conversation with me. I was like going out for dinner and he's like, "Man, I don't know React, but I'm going to work this out." Then I got a message at like 1 a.m. He's like, "Yes, I learned loads about React. I fixed it." I was like, "Wow, amazing." So yeah, you want to have that programming mindset. You can always learn new stuff, I think, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it, but it's not very efficient.
I guess. So Phil, do we want to recap any goals, or shall I jump into the news?
Well, I could just say quickly, if you are joining us for the first time and you're wondering what's this podcast all about, this podcast is about, I think I can sum it up in 3 things. Number 1, we want to stay connected with you guys. We wanted to let you know what we're working on, what we're excited about, and what's going on in the industry. And we want to have an open conversation with you about that. So that is this. Number 2, we want to be able to empower you to build new things with Moralis. And we want you to know that Moralis is a cutting edge technology that literally gets better every single week. I want to say every single day, but I don't know that we necessarily
every day.
Every single day. Perfect. We'll say every single day. But the point is that Moralis is a technology solution that's going to grow with you. As you're growing from a Web 2 developer into a Web 3 developer, and maybe even a leader in Web 3 development because you're so early with us, we're growing at the same time to meet your level of competency and even to bring you to the next level as soon as you're ready. So whether that means that you're going to be launching a production dApp with 1 million users next month, great, we're ready. Oh, you're starting off and you're going to be starting with 10 users and building from there, no problem. We have a free solution that you can start using right now, so 10 users is no problem. It's really a full service solution for developers who want to get into Web3 development right this minute, right today. And that's what we're all about. So if you are seeing this for the first time, reach out to me. I'm in Discord, as are our community engineers. There's a link in the description to join our Discord. And let's talk about how we can start that journey with you, because we want you developing in Web3 right now. Web3 is the future, and that's what this podcast is all about. That said, we built something new this past couple of weeks. And
what a segue. What a segue. This guy's such a pro.
Thank you. I want you to introduce it, and I'm going to share my screen and show everybody what it's all about.
Thank you very much, Phil. I just want to say, like, this is why Phil's here. Like, that was so beautiful. This is why you're head of research and marketing, and I'm just here for the LOLs, but you're always getting the message across, man. Thank you, Captain Phil. So we got a question in the chat, but we'll hold out for you, Crypto Light, if you don't mind. We're taking some questions at the end. I'll keep that one for you. So yeah, big news to share today. About 3 weeks ago, we got a design for a new product, and we built it in literally 3 weeks of every day, 12 to 16 hours a day, 3 of us coding like crazy. As I said earlier, even Ivan jumped on and contributed a lot to the front end. So yeah, it's been a big team push. We've gone really hard to get this out as early as we can, because we want it in your hands as early as possible. We want you to use the beta, and we want to get your feedback to see what you like, what you don't like, what we can improve. So without further ado, introducing Moralis Money.
Moralis Money.
Yeah.
So what's Moralis Money all about? Moralis Money is the latest in portfolio management tools for on-chain assets. This is something, like Bill just said, we built in-house. Now, what is this? In a lot of ways, this is a proof of concept. This is a proof of what Moralis is capable of. And if you want to take some of the ideas that we started on, launch your own version that does different improvements and different ideas, we totally support that. This isn't something where we're saying this is our product and this is the one you have to use. Instead, this is an example of what you can build with our tech. And obviously, we're going to improve our version from here as well. I'm going to go ahead and paste an address in here so we can take a quick look at what's going on with hold on one second. So we can see what's going on with this. All right. So I'm going to use my test wallet here that has a lot of activity on it, so we can start to get a little bit of an idea.
As Philip's doing that, I just want to let you know that this kind of was a big undertaking. Like, for Moralis, this is just a beta we have out now. Right now, you can't log in, but you can kind of test out a lot of the functionality to see all of the assets in your wallet. So, without a doubt, I'm sure there's a lot of business decision went into this and a lot of kind of thinking behind that. So, Philip, I'd like to ask you, why was this decision made to go forward with this project? Because it is a big investment of the company's time and resources, for sure.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure it is that big of an investment, because the whole thing about this is that Moralis already provides all the data, all the tech that you need in order to basically paste an address and get all the tokens, get all the NFTs, get all the transactions, which means you could build this in 3 weeks. Sure, you worked your ass off for 3 weeks, but if you didn't have a solution like Moralis, then this would have taken 3 months probably.
3 years maybe.
So that was part of it. This is easy for us to put together. And then we also have a very large community of crypto users, and pair that with our tech, which makes it very easy, and the fact that we see that the current sort of portfolio manager kind of explorer tools, we don't find them to be that nice. We think there are things that we can improve on that experience when it comes to managing your assets cross-chain, that we want to try and deliver to our community. And that's what we want to do with Moralis Money. And obviously, this is the first version, but look out for many exciting things here in the future.
Yeah, we're as Philip was saying, or Phil was saying earlier about, pushing changes. We are pushing this is updating every single day. We just launched the mobile UI today, and I have a load of code just about to push for the NFT as well, to get rid of these kind of the fallback ones. They're not like stupid crypto kitties anymore. We got nice images from design. We got fallbacks for the ones that don't show up and things like that. So yeah, a lot of improvement coming very, very soon. Philip, or Phil, do you want to talk about what you're seeing there? Actually, maybe you're kind of doing a great demo.
Oh, so I was just thumbing through the NFT layout here. So if you go ahead and go over to money.moralis.io, then what you're going to get to is this page here. Now you can paste in any EVM address. That's any address on Ethereum, Polygon, BNB chain, Avalanche, Phantom, any address. and it will give you the asset information across all of those chains. So here this is a test address that I use. And so we can see here, like I've got some basic attention token, and that's on Ethereum. But then furthermore, we've got a really nice NFT browser here that's ready already. And
just about to be updated. I have a branch I'm just about to merge to update this as well. So more improvement coming.
Amazing. So if we take a look, I mean, some people are familiar with the Pokemon NFTs. This is one of those, and you can see all of the attributes and properties are easily shown in nice big characters, and you can see that for all of your NFTs and really anyone's NFTs. You know, I do believe that even in its current state, this is probably a couple seconds faster than searching OpenSea or something like that. And so, yeah, we're very proud of what it can do even in this early state. Of course, later on, we're going to build out a lot of these other functions, and we want to hear what you think too and what your ideas are. If you select Get Updates, it's going to take you to a type form where you can give some information and get additional updates on these features.
Crypto Light, thanks for the question. It's not open source, to be honest. The kit that it's built with, the Web3 UI kit, is totally open source. So if you want to help us build out any UI elements like that, I would really super welcome your contribution, and you can hit me up on Discord. I'd love to hear from you.
But maybe we can open source it. It would be cool to open source it.
But it's your decision. That's why it's above my pay grade, Phil.
We'll see, but I love the fact that the community can contribute, and if we can find ways to do that, it would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. That would be super cool. Okay, Philip, Philip, sorry, I'm getting too confused with the Phil and the Philip. This is dyslexia kicking in big time. Phil, you have something to share for us about Stargaze.
That's absolutely right. So I know that I'll occasionally talk about Cosmos ecosystem. I'm very excited about Cosmos ecosystem. It's something we plan to support in the future for Moralis. If you want to use Cosmos and Moralis together right now, there's one way you can do that, and that's by building on Kronos network, which we do support. So, but moving on from there, Cosmos ecosystem is this very interesting and exciting new ecosystem that supports what's called inter-blockchain connectivity or inter-blockchain communication, or IBC. And IBC allows you to take assets which are native to one chain and move them physically over to another chain. That the IBC network actually supports this function. This is something that EVM networks, Ethereum virtual machine networks, do not support at this time. So it's a huge breakthrough in what we can do with blockchains, and may lead to something really exciting down the road. So this is where it brings me to the new news on Cosmos ecosystem. Stargaze names are launching tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They start at 50 stars each, which is absolutely dirt cheap. You got to start going to CoinGecko. CoinMarketCap has been censoring coins in their search area, which is a huge pain when you go to search for something like Stargaze and it shows that there's nothing. But of course, CoinGecko is still taking good care of us here. So I do encourage you, if you're not finding what you're looking for on CoinMarketCap, check out CoinGecko. Here we see that 50 stars, that's only a little over $1 to claim a Stargaze name. Compared to an ENS domain, Ethereum naming service domain, you're talking about like a tenth of the cost. I don't know 100% yet, and we're going to figure that out tomorrow when we go to buy these, if they're an annual renewal fee situation or if they're a single purchase and you own it forever. The difference is, if you look at Ethereum naming service, with that service, you're going to pay annually to renew your subscription, or you could opt to pay for multiple years at once. With Unstoppable Domains, which is basically a competitor that issues domains such as .crypto, those you buy and you just permanently own it as an NFT within your wallet. I would prefer that method for Stargaze names, but I'll be the first to tell you that either way, I'm going to throw down $1 in stars to buy one of these tomorrow. Probably going to pick up the handle that I use in the metaverse. Some of you know what that is. I'm not going to say here because I don't want anybody buying it out from under me.
Where do we buy stars, Philip? Do we buy
right here at this website?
Okay, cool.
Zone/names.
Sweet.
So, yep, check that out tomorrow at this time. Sale starts. Obviously, if you want a more coveted name, something like Love or Crypto, those are going for a lot more. And you can see the auction stats right here on the left. But if you want something like, your first and last name within the Cosmos eco, that should be pretty easy to come by, especially anything longer characters should be pretty easy. So definitely something to check out for those of you who are interested in that type of thing. Now, moving on from there, I want to share with you something that's a bit close to home for me, as we're
literally
this time of year. Yeah, literally. A lot of times around the holiday season, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or another holiday, people talk about how nice it is to have snow and have it be, white outside and just, it looks cleaner and more beautiful than if you have a slushy day. Well, it looks like we have that right around the corner for many of us in the United States. In fact, here's a look at the map right now. Now, many of you know that I live in or near Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is right here. And as you can see, we are anticipating the largest snowfall we've seen in probably a decade here soon. Wow. This is the blizzard zone where I live. And if we zoom out a little bit, we see this giant storm sweeping across the United States and also our friends in the Great White North. I was talking to some of our teammates who work in Canada, making sure that they're prepared with water jugs in their basement and things like that. So for those of us who live in the North, on the one hand, we really love snow and we are, many of us, excited for this, but on the same token, cautious, because we know, especially if you live in more rural areas, it may be a day or two without power or something like that. So certainly encouraging everybody to take precautions with that as well. While we're looking forward to the snow for the holidays, we're also preparing to maybe be locked down for a day or two.
Preparing for Snowmageddon. Yeah. Well, Philip, is this just another day in Sweden? Like, is this not a big deal? Are the Americans just blowing up about nothing here?
I guess it depends where you live. Where I live in north of Sweden, we have plenty of snow now, which is super nice. I love snow. I love skiing. So it's a real winter wonderland here. In south of Sweden, they are not as used to snow. So there it can be a little bit more chaotic. But we haven't had any snowstorms recently. It's been quite calm, but plenty of snow.
Like 2 Christmases ago, I was in Madrid. It hadn't snowed for 50 years, and there was like 2 feet of snow, and the entire country shut down. Like they didn't know what to do. It was, and there was like huge mounds of snow hanging off the roof. People playing snowball fights underneath because they didn't even realize the danger. Like they didn't realize that if that thing falls, you're dead. Like it's like a caravan falling on your head. So yeah, it was a crazy Christmas, but a lot of good fun. We were like sleds down the main street and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, but that sure looks crazy when you look at that global map. The US is in for some crazy weather.
Yeah. But we'll be okay, and I'll update you guys. I personally, I'm fortunate to live in an area where we have underground power lines. So the only thing I'm worried about is losing internet. We'll see. We'll see if I keep internet.
That would be the dark ages for sure. What would you do? Just get one of your old PCs out and start taking apart. Oh yeah. I always forget. You have more analog sort of entertainment, don't you?
Yes, sir. All right. So moving on from there, I did want to get a bit into this whole situation with FTX, SBF. So for those of you who have not heard, SBF has been extradited to the United States. He is awaiting trial, and I want to just give everybody a short update here. I have a couple of quick video clips to share here, no more than like 20 seconds each. So let's take a look. Let me know if you can hear this, Bill.
First, I'm announcing that the Southern District of New York has filed charges against Caroline Ellison, the former CEO.
A little bit louder, Phil, but yeah.
Yep. And Gary Wong, a co-founder of FTX, in connection with their roles in the frauds that contributed to FTX's collapse. Both Ms. Ellison and Mr. Wong have pled guilty to those charges, and they are both cooperating with the Southern District of New York. Let me reiterate a call that I made last week.
Okay, that's what I wanted us to get from there. So both Ellison and Wang are cooperating with U.S. attorneys in as part of this case. This is a huge deal, and I think they go into it a little bit here. So let me play this one next.
Williams said that Caroline Caroline Ellison, the former head of Alameda Research, as well as Gary Wang, the co-founder of FTX, have pleaded guilty to multiple criminal charges that they helped orchestrate a years-long scheme to defraud investors of FTX. Ellison pleaded guilty to 7 criminal charges, including wire fraud. Wang pleaded guilty to 4 counts, including conspiracy to commit securities fraud. We also had parallel filings from the SEC and the CFTC. Now, despite getting cooperation credit, neither.
So this is what I wanted to talk a little bit about. And this is where, I want everybody to sleep a little better who feels like they've really been done wrong by this FTX situation. I'm in that camp. While I didn't have anything in FTX, I did have something in BlockFi. And so I certainly feel everybody's pain when it comes to, just feeling like we've been done wrong in this situation. But this is a light at the end of the tunnel here. And I think the reason why this is such a good thing to see is in order for Ellison and Wang to plead guilty, seeing that these are the sentences that they're facing if they plead guilty, what it means is that the amount of evidence against them is such that they're willing to risk the possibility that they might do 100 years in prison even after pleading guilty, because if they don't plead guilty, then the judge is going to give them 100 years in prison because they were trying to get away with something.
It's weird. It's a weird one. I for on Slack for weeks or months or whatever, I've been going like, get him, send him to jail. Now it's happening. I feel bad. Like it must be very stressful for these people. Like it can't be a good situation coming up to Christmas. But I mean, you do bad stuff happens, right? I don't know how else to clear it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, I think that there's a sense that those of us in crypto, because we're a little bit anti-old order. I don't want to say anti-establishment because I don't think that that's really the case. But I think that we're anti-bloated establishment. And because we're anti-bloated establishment, when we see large organizations, large groups like the U.S. Attorney's Office doing these big swinging things and basically saying, well, we're going to put some people in prison for 50 years. And all of a sudden we're like, well, we don't like the old system that much either. But the truth is, when it comes down to something like this, I mean, I think we really do want to see justice at the end of the day. And this is what justice looks like. I know that there are other organizations in Web3, in crypto, that are doing the right thing by the assets that they're handling. And some of those are on-chain protocols. Some of those are central exchanges that are still continuing to do the right thing. I think a good example is Kraken. You've got the CEO of Kraken literally coming out and saying, don't keep your assets on my exchange. If the government requires it, I can't keep them safe because they're not insured the way bank deposits are. And, it's people like that I think give us hope at the end of the day. But it is nice to see that the book may be closed on this, maybe even sooner than we think. And so I did, just to wrap this up, I did have one last clip to share with us. And this is to SBF, but it's also a clip from one of my favorite Christmas movies. Maybe some of you know It's a Wonderful Life. Here we are with this one. Were you able to hear that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, well, it's feel free to look it up yourself, but it's Happy New Year to you in jail. Now, it's a bit funny because that scene from the movie is actually the bad guy from It's a Wonderful Life threatening the good guy that he would go to jail. So it's maybe the first time at Christmas that we are actually saying that and we're happy about it, rather than it being the low point of the entire movie. So I thought that was a little bit ironic. Maybe that's just my dark humor.
Phil, so go ahead,
Phil. Since I know you're a legal scholar in the US, I'm going to ask you, why does someone plead guilty? Does that mean they will get a deal, like they will get a shorter sentence because they plead guilty?
So that's what's called a plea bargain.
Mm-hmm.
I do not. So here's the thing. In the US, to understand how US law works, you need to understand that every judge in the US is in charge of their own little island. So we don't have royalty in the United States, the closest thing we have are judges in the courtroom. In the courtroom, the judge gets to decide what law is to a very large extent. And that means if he doesn't like the language that you're using for any reason, he can put you in jail for the day. Now, he can't put you in jail for the rest of your life for that, but he could put you in jail for a while and it'd be uncomfortable. And that's the authority that he exercises within the courtroom. Now, that same authority extends very heavily into sentencing. So while the judge in a case like this will not be the one to say guilty or not guilty, that'll be the job of the jury. Once the jury determines guilty, if they determine not guilty, he's acquitted, and that's it. It's over. But if the jury says that he's guilty, then it's handed to the judge for sentencing. The judge has an obligation to take into account how difficult the guilty party made it for the courts to bring them to justice. If they made it easy, then the judge will take that into account. Mm-hmm. It could mean the difference between 25 years in prison and 50. It could mean the difference between getting out of prison when you're 80 years old and dying in prison.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. And I guess it's also not very good news for Sam, because I guess that means that they're collaborating with the justice system and maybe spill the beans on some of that stuff.
Show the text messages.
I agree. And I think that we have a right in Web3, those of us who are daily working or building in Web3, we have a right to be offended by the reaction of the news media with Sam's apology tour. If I had been, and I mean, I'm not necessarily qualified to be the president or CEO or whatever of Time Magazine or something like that, but if I had been, I would have slammed the door in his face. I would have told him, forget it. Tell your story in court under oath. And
they just want the advertising revenue, really.
Yeah, it's all about the clicks.
Yeah. Sweet clickbait.
That's understandable, yeah.
But it's going to be very interesting to see when this plays out in court and we actually get evidence, because there's been a lack of real evidence. But to put that next to all the things he said in Twitter Spaces and all of these different live streams and interviews where he probably lied a lot, and then be in front of the court and be presented with all the actual evidence, it's going to be very interesting to see.
I lost 8 billion. Where did it go?
We probably won't hear from SBF in court.
No, you don't think it'll be covered in the media?
The only way, no, we probably won't hear from him. Okay. The only way that SBF would be asked to speak in court is if he voluntarily agreed to. And after all the speaking he's already done, his lawyer's main job is going to be to get him to not talk in court.
But he does seem to be a fan of talking a lot, so he might he might do it.
I can shrug my way out of this. It'll be fine.
It'll be the dumbest thing he ever did. But yeah, it'll be even dumber than.
But he thinks he's very smart, so he might, think he'll be able to do it, and then he'll sort of, I guess, outsmart himself and fuck up. Yeah. But either way, we're going to see the evidence.
His parents had been arrested too. Now I think they said on Twitter earlier on for a co-conspiracy.
I think they were under investigation. I didn't hear that they were arrested. Maybe.
Sorry, under investigation. Sorry, I spoke too soon there. So many big words, man. I'm dyslexic. It's hard. Before we move on from this one, right? Because it's going to be such a drama. I saw this epic tweet. I just sent it to you, Phil. If you can click it on Slack there and pull it in the window, because this would be great. Like they're talking about making, if we had a Hollywood remake of the FBS scandal.
Oh, there will be one.
Yeah, there must be a Netflix series brewing.
Well, Phil's looking for that. KP in the chat. I couldn't agree more. I love your opinion. And hi, Tom. Good to see you. I'm really looking forward to the game, man. But yeah, I think this is brilliant. What do we think of this casting, guys? Because anybody can suggest any improvements? I think that is absolutely perfect.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. I love the Asian dude. He's I can't remember his name now. He's one of my favorite actors. He's Jin Ling in Silicon Valley, and
yeah.
He also did this Christmas movie. I can't remember what it's called either, but it's very, very wholesome, good movie.
He's also in one episode of the not particularly wholesome show Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay, I didn't know where you're going there, Phil. That's not too bad, that's true.
But no, I think we will probably see something like this. You know, in the aftermath of these types of events, they love to make movies and things like that. You know, The Big Short famously was a movie about the housing market collapse. And, you know, maybe that's where, just to sum up what we've been talking about, that's where folks like me were maybe most concerned. When the housing market crashed, we didn't send a single banker to jail in the United States. And then when you look at countries like Iceland, who did in fact jail their bankers, we sure look like a bunch of criminals over here. And I was worried it was going to start to look that same way with this SBF situation. But thankfully, I think the news that we're getting now is comforting to see that we're actually going to see some justice here. It might take some time, but I think that we will see it at the end.
Nice. Okay, so the last news item today then is, I just wanted to quickly share that we talked before about the Ethereum boilerplate from Moralis, which is amazing. Everything Next.js, including our authentication, all baked into a nice boilerplate for you. To take it one step further, we're actually trying to get an auth integration with Next.js, and Dimitri's working very hard on that. So stay tuned for more news on that. I think that Web3 authentication could be literally the easiest thing, easier than any of those other auth packages very, very soon. So I'll keep you up to date on that news. And that brings us to what we used to call the DApp of the week, but I guess it's going to be DApp of the month now. But yeah, we've got, are you able to share it actually, Philip? But it's the hackathon winner.
Yeah. Let me pull it up here.
Oh, nice. Thank you, dude.
So this,
have you seen this, Philip? Sorry. Have you seen it?
I've messed around with it. Let me add it to the screen here. So the winner for the Moralis Cross Google defining DeFi hackathon. I'm getting my hackathon names mixed up here all of a sudden. Defining DeFi hackathon was Get Me Pizza. So Get Me Pizza was really cool, especially once you understood what it's doing that really nothing else has done before. So on the surface, this is a tipping app that allows you to tip people in the metaverse. But what it includes as well is cross-chain receipts that involve messages sent across 3 blockchains simultaneously using a partner protocol called Acceler for cross-chain messaging. So let me just pull up one of the recent posts and I can show you what I mean.
I'm sad that my my face is now removed from the, like the latest people are always there for a while. A few days I was on there, but I've been demoted now. More people have signed up.
Now, where was it that I could view? Here we are. So I just pulled up this random user here, and you can see that across 3 different chains, we have supporter messages: Binance, Polygon, and Phantom. And that's provided by that Axelar messaging system I was mentioning.
Yeah, congrats to Elon's dev. I was talking to him via Twitter, and he is very happy with his little Christmas bonus. It was quite a substantial Christmas bonus, actually. So yeah, I think he mentioned that he's going to put a deposit down and buy himself an apartment. So amazing to see a really good person work really hard and make an awesome product and get rewarded for it.
Absolutely. And we had a lot of other great winners as well. Due to the holidays, I know that we're still waiting on some prize information from different sponsors. I assure you all of that prize information will be coming out here very soon, and we'll get everything wrapped up here early in the new year with any payments that haven't been processed yet. Always a little bit more of a delay with the holiday, but nothing to worry about there. And feel free to reach out to me on Discord if anybody has individual questions. Congratulations to Elon's dev for his winning DApp, and to all of the other developers who produced wonderful dApps for the Moralis Cross Google hackathon. Let me just pull up those winners here.
And actually, we had a question come into the chat to ask you, Phil, when will the next hackathon be?
That's a great question. So for a while, I was saying I was going to have an announcement about that soon. I still hope to. I have been working with a few different potential sponsors for a Q1 hackathon for 2023, but I need to get a full commitment from one of those sponsors in order to move forward. And I'm going to be sending out details to my preferred pick here before the end of the week. And if everything goes well with that, I'll be making an announcement still this year about our next hackathon. Now, if that's delayed for any reason, it could be early next year that we end up making that announcement. Either way, my goal is to provide a Q1 hackathon for you guys so that we can continue to fund your dApps and projects into next year. But I do need to finish lining up sponsors before we can proceed with that. And I'll give you more updates as we go forward. The goal is still Q1 at this time. Unfortunately, I don't have more to announce until I know a little bit more.
Nice. Okay, and then I think that moves us on to some Q&A for the amazing COO, co-founder of Moralis Web3, Filip. I don't know your surname. I do know. I forget. Masterson. Martinsson, so close. Yeah, man. So thank you so much for being a guest today. We'd asked you earlier on what kind of drove you to set up Moralis, which was a very interesting story. But yeah, tell me, there must be some very interesting, funny story about you and Ivan in your uni days. What did you guys get up to?
Yeah, I mean, I wish there was some, crazy. The honest answer is that there isn't a lot of crazy stories, because me and Ivan weren't very involved in like the crazy student life. We didn't go to all the parties. We didn't do all of that. We did all of our studies together. We did all of our programming stuff together. And then on our free time, we worked on our startups or different apps or whatnot. So we had a fun uni time, but there wasn't any, I can't think of any crazy stories at the moment. I mean, there were many situations where we, sat up the whole night trying to solve some problem for the next morning sort of presentation. You sit past midnight to 3 a.m. and try to solve some programming problem, and you just get dumber and dumber by the hour and try to solve a harder and more difficult problem. So not a great situation to be in, but we had a great fun time, and I mean that laid the foundation to our relationship and our way of working together, which has proved itself to work very well throughout good times and hard times. It's been fun. We met day one at university, and then we've been sticking together since.
How was your university? Did you find that, like you're saying, you're sitting up all night programming to do presentations? Like whenever I went to it's like more like a community college or whatever you would call it in America. But like the teaching standard was so low. Like you could hack anything together, stand up at the front of the room and tell them it was good, and they wouldn't have known the difference. So like, was the teaching level very high? Like, was there a lot of pressure to get to get the higher grades there?
I would say it was pretty difficult. Not only to get higher grades. I didn't get high grades, but it was difficult for sure. And I studied computer science, so it wasn't a lot of like practical programming. We didn't learn React. We didn't learn JavaScript or any language or stack. It was a lot of just theory around sort of designing algorithms and complexity and math. And so that was difficult. And for some problems that we had, assignments around creating programs to analyze different graphs or to build sorting algorithms, whatever, you had to come to the right result in the end. You had to sort this whatever array or whatever it was in a certain way. And then they would look at the algorithm that you created, and it had to be of a certain type or whatever the assignment might be. So that was quite thoroughly looked at. And usually you just presented to a teacher. You didn't present like in front of class. You presented to a teacher who graded it. But those were usually pass-fail. And then you could get higher grades on different tests and so on. But I didn't get high grades, and I didn't even finish university. So I went 3 out of 5 years, and that was
that's still good. That's a good innings. That's for I another question from Alex in the chat, which I actually know the answer to, but it's a good one for you. Was Moralis the first company you set up?
No, it was not. So I've run 2 companies before. One was a startup that I built during my uni days. It was in the event space, very different, and that failed miserably. It was a horrible product, horribly executed, which is perfect for a first startup. You waste a couple of years on that when you're young. You learn what not to do. I learned a lot of programming though, because I built that platform myself together with 2 other guys. But then after that, we started the Ivan on Tech Academy, which was the second company then the first company that I ran together with Ivan, which still exists today, but under the Moralis brand, so Moralis Academy. And that we scaled up from just me and Ivan to around 50 employees. I think we were at the peak, and there I learned a lot of what I learned a lot of what I know today about building companies from that startup, which was also taking a lot of learnings from the first one. And then once we started Moralis, the actual SaaS business, we had a lot of learnings from that first business, and that's made it possible for us to scale from now not only 50 people, but past 50 people and up into the 80s and 90s of employees. And it's been a great learning journey. It's been a lot of fun.
Phil, you were there in the academy days, right?
That's right. So I first started working with Ivan and Filip back in 2020 before we launched Moralis. And I started as just a researcher along with a lot of other researchers. And yeah, it's been my greatest professional joy and accomplishment to work with Ivan and Filip on starting Moralis and these other things. When we first started Moralis, I didn't know what I was going to do with Moralis. I was like, oh, I've been doing this research stuff. Where do I fit into this? And I was grateful to be offered the management role with Moralis Magazine in the beginning. Now Simon Marshall is leading that initiative. But from there, I started to get into helping out with our events, and now I'm just continuing on with that, while also working on some things for our academy. Ivan's been talking about this a bit on his live stream, but we have some very special course content coming up for next year that's going to be really, really exciting stuff. So if you're not already a member of our academy and you're interested in learning more about just about anything you can think of to do with blockchain. I mean, if you want to know how the Bitcoin network works down to the last little element of it. In fact, I first learned Bitcoin programming watching a course that Filip was teaching. And I remember the very first time that I ever interacted with him, I reached out to him and in the forum and I said, do you have these instructions for Mac? Because I remember him mentioning that he used Mac, but then he had PowerShell instructions. Those of you who know, now I am not a regular coder. I code sometimes, but not often. And those of you who know me as a coder know that I despise PowerShell. That I very much prefer
hot take.
Linux.
Spicy.
But it's crazy how many people of our early employees were academy students. And also, like I see in the chat now, someone who's taken one of my courses, like people that I run into on conferences or in the community in general, who's taken our courses from the very beginning, and that's always fun to see, and quite amazing how many people we actually reached with those.
We all thought we were your friends, you see, Philip, because you started every one. You're like, hello, friends. Started every lesson. I was like, oh, we're his friends. By the way, big shout out to Ivan in the chat, and hey to Tivi as well. Okay, so we're about to wrap up here, but we have one super serious, pressing question for you, Philip. It's come from a Miss Amy Gilmore via Twitter, and she says, why do you not follow Bill Gill on Twitter?
Oh, I didn't know that you had Twitter, Bill.
Oh, okay, that's the reason.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Okay. It would be a nice 40th birthday party. You know, you could follow me. It would be a nice present. It would.
I don't believe you're 40. I don't believe you're 40, Bill.
I'm 39. Yeah, I'm going to be 40 in September. I'm thinking about organizing a Moralis party somewhere. Like we'll just go for a good time, and we'll maybe go to Ireland.
I will definitely be there. I'll be there.
Yes, we're good. Okay, I think that's all we have time for. If everybody wants to sign off, I've been Bill Gilmore, head of front end of Moralis. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I enjoyed it.
Nice. And I'll leave the last word to Phil then, because he always rounds it off so perfectly for us. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy holidays to everybody here. I'm Phil, your head of research and head of events for Moralis. I'm always here to help you guys. Everybody in the community is important to us, and we want to have a relationship with you, and this is part of that. So keep in touch with us. Let us know what you're building. Let us know how we can help, and have a wonderful and safe holiday with your families. Much love to everyone here, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you in the new year.
Thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.